Hello everyone and welcome here to the Daily Quest episode number 33. The world is well. Everything's going nicely except for the fact that I'm still sick and my computer blue screened again today. I just can't win, guys. Reinstalled Windows a couple days ago and we get the blue screen again. So what I did is I went back a graphics driver version. And maybe that's what caused it, because that's the only thing that had changed between no blue screens and blue screen. So hopefully we're good and dandy. But today, the glorious thing that's happening is we're talking about Genn Greymane. Now, it has been data mined that Genn Greymane will be releasing on January 12th, 2016. So that's only 5 days from now. And that does line up with the 3 to 4 week post previous hero, which was Lunara. We've had it for her for a few weeks now. We know Genn Greymane is in fact in the client. You can actually go into the client and you can go to the portraits to figure this out. They will initiate 2 heroes at a time generally with the big patches. They do balance changes as well as add a few heroes, and you can see these Genn Greymane portraits are right here. So he is obviously on the way. I do not have the Cho'Gall portraits. Shame on me. Anyways, so Greymane, we know he's coming soon, and we know that he's the first hero in the game to include shapeshifting, right? He has 5 basic abilities, and there's no hero like that. We don't have druids, and you know, in a way, a worgen is akin to a druid in the sense that it's a human that transforms into a wolf of some kind, a worgen in this case. And let's actually just take a quick look at the basic abilities of Greymane. So I think I set this up. That is totally not the right part of this video. And that is way too loud. Oh, mission failed. Here we go. Oh, so handsome. Genn Greymane. All right. So Genn Greymane, he is obviously, like we said, a worgen, but he has 2 forms. So he has the ability to shapeshift, and that his trait is called Curse of the Worgen. Your basic abilities can change between human and worgen form. While in human, you have a ranged basic attack, and while in worgen, you do 40% additional damage, but it's a melee attack. So really, he's going to hit much harder when he's close range, but he can still fire from a safe distance as he is a rather squishy hero. His health pool isn't all that high, so you need to be rather careful when you're in up close in a lot of those situations. Let's get the full rundown on his abilities, though. When you're in the human form, you have Gilnean Cocktail, and this is a ranged ability that you throw out. It's basically kind of like a little vial of poison, I suppose, whatever this Gilnean Cocktail is made out of. I don't know what cocktails are made of. I don't think it's actually poison, just an explosive chemical of some form. You throw it, it hits a primary target doing very minimal damage, but it does a cone of splash beyond that target. So if you throw it at that front line and that warrior's trying to body block to save their Vala, save their Nova, one of those squishy heroes in the backline that's almost dead, your Gilnean Cocktail can actually pierce through him and do extra damage to the targets behind that. And this can be really, really good for not only trying to pick off enemy heroes, just poking away before you leap into the backline to do that critical damage, but also it's good for the lane clear. You throw it at those tanks in the front line and you will push out the archers and the caster on the minion wave rather effectively. And it's always good to kill those guys early because they do a little bit more damage. His other ability here is Inner Beast. Now, Inner Beast doesn't actually change when you go into worgen form. This is the one basic ability that will remain the same for both the normal human and worgen form. And really all it is a 50% attack speed boost for 3 seconds, but your basic attacks will refresh this duration. So basically it just gives you a nice little boost of auto attack damage, and this is going to be what you use when you're really ready to initiate. You know you want to finish off that target, you want to pop Inner Beast, and you want to get all of that damage done. And of course, like we said, basic attacks refresh this duration, so you can keep it up a little bit longer. And then lastly, the human form has Dark Flight. So Dark Flight, you shapeshift into a worgen, leaping on top of them. So this is an engage. You dive in, transform midair into a worgen, and you deal a small amount of damage. It's 193 damage at base, and then you're on that target. Now you're shifted into your worgen form. This is how you transform, but it's also a full-on engage. We will get to the heroics after we take a look at the actual worgen abilities, and I believe this guy will kind of wiggle around. Yeah, and now he's a worgen. All right. So we can see the Worgen abilities are a little bit different. Now your Q no longer Gilnean Cocktail, it is actually Razor Swipe. Razor Swipe, it's a cleave in front of him and he steps forward. So he moves forward a little bit and he cleaves doing about 349 damage. So comparing this to Gilnean Cocktail, it does 152 to the primary target, and it does the explosion radius behind it does 454. So that's a little bit bigger, right? That's more. You're doing more damage with Gilnean Cocktail from afar. Difference being, Gilnean Cocktail is a 9-second cooldown when Razor Swipe is only a 3-second cooldown. So you can be much more aggressive, doing more frequent damage with Razor Swipe in the Worgen form, and your auto attacks are hitting 40% harder. So it's definitely a little bit different, but it's, you're in the face, you're committed to that fight, and then you're doing as much damage as you can. You pop Inner Beast, you got that 50% attack speed bonus, you got the 40% auto attack damage bonus from being in your Worgen form, but guess what? You're getting low on health and you need to get out of there, and that's what disengage is. No longer Dark Flight, now disengage. You'll actually launch away from your target in the direction of your choosing, and you will transform into the human form while doing this. Now, the fact that he has 5 different basic abilities means he has 5 different basic ability cooldowns. And this gives Greymane great potential to outplay his opponents. He can dive into juke abilities and dive out to juke other abilities and really dish out a ton of damage in the process. It's not going to be optimal to be sitting in your Worgen form for a long period of time. You're going to want to get in there, do a bunch of damage, maybe get 3 Razor Swipes down and, do the max damage with that, and then switch back on into your human form and throw out your Gilnean Cocktail once again, get that damage done, do a bit of kiting, dodge some damage, get a heal from your healer on your team, whatever it is, and then get back in there with Dark Flight, because Dark Flight and Disengage, they're both only 6-second cooldowns. So this is going to be a very high skill cap hero, and it's going to be a lot of fun to actually see, pro players what they can really do with this hero. I don't think we're going to see phenomenal Greymane play right away. I think it's going to take some time for players to really figure out how to maximize this hero. But, well, time will tell. Now, Greymane, he's actually got a few heroic abilities we can talk about as well. So we have Go for the Throat, and then that'll be our first heroic. Go for the Throat, you actually leap at an enemy hero, shapeshift into a Worgen, so this is another engage. It's a 1-minute cooldown, and you slash 3 times for 822 damage. So really, this is like you're launching onto a target. You just threw your Gilnean Cocktail that target's relatively low, but you just want to chunk him down. And this is, you just kind of commit, you dive in, you do a ton of damage, and if it happens to kill them, the ability can be used on a second target. So if you pick up that kill with Go for the Throat, and you see that squishy healer, that medic that was trying to keep alive the Diablo, you can just switch that target over to medic and do a ton of damage to a second hero. So this is really going to reward players that know exactly when to use this, exactly when they can pick up a kill in the process of using Go for the Throat, and give them that really kind of steamroll effect to get another kill. I mean, Greymane is a very momentum-based hero, and a lot of that is going to be key to his playstyle. Now, his other heroics, I guess he's got, 2 in the same, I guess, is we have Marked for the Kill leap. So if you shapeshift into a Worgen and leap to the target marked for the kill, and then you'll deal damage here. This is a 0.5-second cooldown, but this is the leap after you use actually Marked for the Kill. So Marked for the Kill is you shapeshift into human form and fire a killing shot at an enemy hero for 5 seconds. They are vulnerable, taking 25%. It's a 5-second hunter's mark, essentially. They take 25% more damage, and you can reactivate this to leap to them. So basically what you do is you mark a target, you give them a 25% increased damage received debuff, and then you can leap from your human form, and then you can leap on top of them in your Worgen form using this heroic, so you don't have to use Dark Flight to do this. So you'll leap onto them, and then you're just going to pop Inner Beast, and you're going to go for that kill. Now, when you consider that this is 25% additional damage to all heroes, this is going to be quite good against tanks if you're really trying to blow up that tank. You don't have Tyrande on your team, but you want extra burst potential on a multi-warrior composition or something. This could be very valuable, because that 25% increased damage received on that target is very valuable. And this is also a 1-minute cooldown. Both of his heroics, they're just flat 1-minute cooldowns. And it's going to be really fun to actually see this all unfold. But now that we've gone through the full rundown exactly what these are, let's actually just let this video play. If you haven't actually seen it yet, and we can just take a look at exactly how all of his abilities look. So that's the Gilnean Cocktail. You can see didn't really do much damage to Kerrigan. Wow, this goes quick. It did a lot to the Vikings. Then we saw his cleave going forward there. Let's rewind this. It goes way too quick. I guess they're just trying to preview it very quickly. All right. So Gilnean Cocktail, again, this is right after it's been cast. You can see that it did a fair amount of damage to the Lost Vikings, not too much damage to Kerrigan. Like we said, at the base level, it's only 152 damage and then 454 to the targets behind. So very good for lane clear. That is the Cleave Razor Swipe. I mean, it's a little bit more damage. It's got a pretty big radius, as you can see, and it's just going to be pretty useful in general for, I think it's going to have great lane clear in general, but it's going to be pretty good for once you're closing the gaps and just getting in there to do a lot of damage to a variety of targets. And you can see his auto attacks hit pretty hard. That's Rexar's health pool getting chunked down there. Range auto attacks, not quite as strong. Inner Beast being cast there, but he gets much more quick with those autos. And then Inner Beast here with his auto attacks. He just swipes down Sonya pretty quickly. So he's a very strong AA hero. There's Dark Flight launching on in, transforming into his Worgen form to close the gap into Leoric. The actual initiation of that ability, not doing a lot of damage, but this is, again, how you close the gaps. And then, of course, you can disengage after 6 seconds to get on out of there and go back to your human form and start throwing out your other abilities. Now, this is the first heroic go for the throat. So you'll see he got in there, he killed Illidan like Illidan was a sack lunch, gobbled him up, and then he can cast it once more. And it does a good amount of damage. I mean, just like that, Thrall took about a third of his health, and then 2 more swipes is at half health. So Worgen is a hero that hits pretty darn hard. That's for sure. All right, this is marked for the kill. You see it's got a very long cast range here. He launches that at Butcher, and then he can dive onto that target. Remember, this target will take 25% additional damage for 5 full seconds. And that's a long time, because Worgen's, or Greymane, is really in there once he goes into the Worgen form, launches way deep in and commits to that fight, just starting to chunk through Butcher's health pool. And yeah, that's pretty much what his abilities look like. Now, overall, Greymane, what do we know about the hero, right? He's the first hero that can shapeshift. He's data mined for the 12th, but we haven't really looked at his talents yet, and that's what we're about to do. We're going to theory craft exactly how we might think Greymane will be played, in a variety of styles. Will he be another hero that just has a single play style? Will he be a hero that has a Worgen build and then a human build, a hybrid build? Like, really, I honestly have no clue whatsoever, but we can actually take a look at those talents. So let's do that. Let's switch on over to this screen. Yes. And we can start taking a look at all of Greymane's talents. So, level 1 talents, we got 4 options. Scented Tincture, this is for Gilnean Cocktail, and this just adds a 10-second reveal. You're worried about stealthies, Greymane's going to be a pretty squishy hero, you're worried about that Nova, you're worried about the Zeratul, might be worth grabbing Gilnean Cocktail, a good response. And you can see through bushes, right? And when you consider that you have this Worgen form to launch on them, even if there aren't stealthies, this is going to let you see them through the fog of war. It gives a 10-second reveal. So if that target's running away, you can then just leap over a wall in your Worgen form to finish off the target. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see the potential of that ability. Perfect Aim increases Gilnean's Cocktail range by 30% and refunds mana if it kills a hero. So you only get the mana refund upon killing an enemy hero. You don't get any kind of mana return from killing minions, and it's increased range. If you want to go like a sniper poke Greymane build where you're often in your human form and then you're just going to go try to finish that target with something like Go for the Throat once you have level 10 in the Worgen form, maybe this is a style that we're going to see. It's really hard to tell without actually playing the hero more than once at BlizzCon what we're going to see, but there's definitely some cool potential for Perfect Aim because that's going to give you some pretty darn good range with a hero that's a hybrid between melee and ranged. Wolf Heart, while your Inner Beast is active, again, it's only a 3-second duration when you activate it, but it can be increased. Your attack lowers its cooldown by 1 second. So this is gonna allow you to, it's kind of like having battle momentum, but just for Inner Beast. But considering Inner Beast is what gives you like a lot of bonus damage, this could actually be super valuable, especially for a more like ham in your face build. Think about going for Mark for the kill. You want to get as much damage as possible in that Inner Beast, but it's only going to reduce the cooldown on Inner Beast in general. So for max DPS, probably the best option so far at level 1. Definitely see some good potential there. And Viciousness increases Inner Beast's duration to 4 seconds. It's 3 by default, and causes ability damage to also refresh its duration. Now, currently, its duration is refreshed by auto attacks, but this will just allow you to have that upkeep. So instead of having your Inner Beast available again to cast pretty soon, this is going to make that one Inner Beast that you cast more valuable. So if you know that you can commit to a fight, you get that Divine Shield from Uther, and you know you can go ham. This is the talent you want to get, because you're not looking to cast Wolf. You're not looking to cast Inner Beast again with Wolfheart. You're looking to keep that Inner Beast up and shred your opponents with that huge auto attack bonus that you get from Inner Beast. So Viciousness is super appealing as far as I'm concerned when it comes to just the full ham style. All right, level 4, Insatiable. Inner Beast causes basic attack damage to restore 5 mana. I really have no idea how Greymane's mana retention is going to be. Let's actually get some Heroes music on. Oh, yes. So, yeah, I have no idea how his mana retention is going to be. If he does have mana problems, probably worth grabbing, because, I mean, if you're going into Wolfheart or Viciousness and you need that mana retention, then that would pair pretty well. Would Insatiable be worth grabbing without either of those talents? I really don't know. Probably not. But then you're specking so much just to being like that. You click that Inner Beast and then you commit to going for those kills, going for those attacks. Thick Skin using Dark Flight reduces the damage for the next 2 heroic basic attacks. That means basic attacks from enemy heroes, not heroic abilities. Attacks made against you by 50% while a Worgen. So if you're diving into Worgen form and you're facing off versus a big auto attack hero, right? You're worried about maybe Raynor, maybe it's Thrall or something, and you really want to negate some of that damage to get the edge in battle, and you think it's going to pay off, this might be worth it, right? This is going to give him a little bit more survivability, but it's not really going to benefit you all too much versus the ability power based heroes and Heroes of the Storm, because this is strictly for basic attacks. Draught Overflow increases Gilnean Cocktail's explosion length by 35%. So, you know, that the radius is what you want. You want that big explosion because that's where all the damage is. It's about 3.5 times more damage than the initial hit on that primary target. So Draught Overflow, really, really good for just more AoE potential here, especially in the human form. If we're going to human style Worgen, if you're going for a bit more of a poke style, Perfect Aim plus Draught Overflow probably pairs pretty well together. Disengage grants stealth for 4 seconds. You're worried about survivability. You want to be able to be a little bit ham, but then have your escape. Lies in the Dark, because 4 seconds of stealth after you launch way far back and go into your human form is going to get you out of a lot of bad situations. This really reminds me of the talent that Sylvanas has for Haunting Wave that allows her to go stealth when she initially casts it, because it could be a lot of fun. All right, Incendiary Elixir at level 7. Gilnean Cocktail deals 200% more damage to the enemy it impacts and explodes even if it misses. So basically, the way Gilnean Cocktail works is if you throw it and you don't hit a primary target, it's not going to do anything. You don't get that splash. It needs to collide with a target before the splash goes off. But now you're guaranteeing that explosion at the max distance, so you have a definite big explosion radius. So this, in theory, makes it a little bit more flexible in the way you want to use it. And then it does 200% more damage to the enemy it impacts. So that's only the initial damage, not the splash damage. If it did the splash damage bonus, that would 200% on that would be actually insane. Like, that would be like hitting a flame strike and a living bomb at the same time with one ability from a ridiculous potential distance. This is just for the initial impact. So I'm glad it comes with the utility. If it didn't come with the utility of exploding no matter what, I think this would be a really bad talent. But the fact that it has both makes it rather interesting. Gives them a little bit more of a potential burst with that initial target, right? It's going to make this ability in general just more valuable. And definitely a good option for level 7. Wizard Duelist. Wizened Wizard. God, I cannot read sometimes, guys. Wizened Duelist hero takedowns increase basic attack damage by 3% to a maximum of 30%. This bonus is lost on death. So, you manage to get the kills. This is kind of a gathering power, right? your basic attacks damage are increased by 3% to a max of 30. This, we only ever see gathering power for abilities, but now we have one for auto attacks where you can actually get farmed up as Greymane. And we've already seen his power with autos, especially in the Worgen form. And this is really cool. Now we talk about survivability, right? We have Eyes in the Dark. He can get out of a lot of bad situations and stay alive for a good, you know, maybe indefinitely, right? If you're really skilled, 30% additional attack damage, 40% additional attack damage in Worgen form, and then 50% attack speed when you pop Inner Beast. He would shred through just about anyone. So I'm pumped about this. I'm really, really, really excited to see this talent. I'd like to see this talent be almost like I honestly think that they need to consider making like something like Wizened Duelist and Gathering Power an option for pretty much all assassins to some extent, as long as they're, you know, maybe they're auto attack based, maybe they're spellcaster based. There are restrictions, or there are some situations where it would kind of break the game, but I like this idea of being able to get farmed up. I do think it's interesting. The risk and reward is very interesting to me. All right, Quicksilver Bullets increases the human's basic attack range by 20%. You're having trouble dueling with Raynor, you need that additional range for your autos. I mean, it's just utility, just straight up. If you want to be that full range auto attack human form, could definitely be a good way to play the hero. Just gives you a little bit more poke. We already talked about the heroics, so we're not going to go through them here, and we'll theorycraft maybe some potential builds after this. Obviously, we'll be revisiting this next week. The whole plan for the Greymane launch is we're going to do a first impressions look at the hero, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk with a lot of the top assassins. I'm going to talk to Arthlon, I'm going to talk to Glaurung, I'm going to talk to a bunch of the guys in Europe. I'm going to talk to a lot of pros. We're going to get some opinions on them, and we're going to come back and we're going to do a little bit of an assessment as to what we expect Greymane to be in terms of builds. Today, we're just going to kind of like theorycraft maybe the different styles that we should expect to see, but there will be some more concrete answers next week, because this is all very speculative. Anyways, level 13, Unfettered Assault. Razor Swipe lunges Greymane 6% farther. So this is his Q while in Worgen form, and you get a 60% further lunge. And he does this, he already does a big swipe with that, but now he's going to be covering more area while he swipes. So if you wanted to pass through pretty much half a team fight and hit everything in the process, it's only a 3-second cooldown. So as long as you can stay alive, I mean, Greymane is going to be hitting and cleaving just about everything with this talent. It's level 13 talent, but its cooldown is increased by 33.3%. So 33%, I guess it'd make it like a 4.5-second cooldown. I'm terrible at math. So you're sacrificing your ability to spam by a little bit, but in turn you're getting a huge radius on the cleave, which is pretty cool. Running Wild increases the disengage range by 35%. Again, if you're going for Wizened Duelist, then you probably want to look at the survivability as much as you can. Might be worth grabbing. That's a huge disengage range that you'll have there. On the Prowl, Inner Beast increases your movement speed by 30%. Again, this is for those hand builds. You want to get that additional movement speed while you're activating Inner Beast to just close the gap in your Worgen form. Or maybe you're going in auto attack style and you went for Quicksilver Bullets. Who knows? That might be very good. And then we have Visceral Attacks. Worgen basic attacks reduce Razor Swipe's cooldown by 1 second. So already only a 3-second cooldown. It's a big cleave. This could be the spam here, but again, we talked about, we don't know what his mana is going to look like. We don't know if he's going to have mana issues or not. And as soon as you start reducing cooldowns and you're spamming this, and say you spec into just being a full-on, I just want to cleave for days style, right? You don't want the extra range. You just want to cleave as much as you possibly can. Well, your mana might start to run low, so then you have to look at mana talents and consider those, because I have a feeling he would burn through his mana very quickly with only a 2-second cooldown. Give or take on visceral attacks. Level 16, he does have Executioner, generic talent. Consecrated Blast increases Gilnean Cocktail's damage by 80% while Inner Beast is active. So, Inner Beast is really, it's all about the auto attacks. And again, auto attacks are going to increase the duration of Inner Beast. So to use it efficiently, you really want to get off as many autos as possible. But this is trying to take a different approach. It's saying, look, well, you can make inner beast be part of your burst as a ranged burst hero. So you're going a Gilnean cocktail build, and you want to just get some huge damage done. You pop Inner Beast, you throw it out there, 80% bonus damage. If you manage to get the splash and then hit the back line on a few heroes, that is going to be huge damage. So if you manage to grab like Kael'thas plus Greymane, level 16, when you've got the living bombs going down, and then a big Gilnean cocktail with Consecrated Blast paired with that, that could be absolutely devastating to the enemy team. All right, Relentless Predator reduces the duration of silences, stuns, slows, roots, and polymorphs against you by 75%. In your Worgen form. That's really good. I mean, that's really good. Like, that, I can't talk enough. It's like, if other melee assassins had this kind of thing, like, this is just straight. You don't have to activate anything. You simply have to be in your Worgen form, and you can go ham for days. Like, you can absolutely just, like, stun. You don't have to worry about stun locks all that much. You can get out of a lot of bad situations. 75% cooldown reduction. It's going to make it very hard to chain stun you, and that's going to give you the option to disengage effectively. This is going to give Greymane so much survivability. It's almost like required if you're going a Worgen focus build to grab this talent of how good it sounds. Last but not least, we have Alpha Killer. Worgen basic attacks against heroes deal bonus damage equal to 3% of their maximum health. So this is Giant Killer, but only for Worgen form. Since Worgen form already hits so hard, they put it at level 16. It's a specific version of it. It's a little bit. I mean, it's a level 16 talents are usually quite costly. They're usually very good, right? So you're giving up great things like Consecrated Blast and Relentless Predator in order to go for Alpha Killer, and it's for good reason, because this is he's going to have really high auto attacks in Worgen form. And they just wanted to make sure you were spending a lot if you did, in fact, want to go for Alpha Killer. And he's going to shred huge health pool heroes, especially if he gets marked for the kill plus Alpha Killer. It doesn't matter how big your health pool is. He will just absolutely eat a Stitches that's fed with these kind of talents. Level 20, his Storm talents. Greymane's got Hunters, Blunderbuss, Humans, basic attacks, splash for 4% behind the enemy target. So now his autos are splashing. This is going to make him a Pokemon master. He's just going to poke for days with the Gilnean cocktails. His auto attacks, you get the increased range. You go for Hunters, Blunderbuss. Could be a really powerful poke style hero. And then Tooth and Claw, Worgen basic attacks, cleave for 4% damage. So same idea, but this is your Worgen form. Now you have auto cleaves while in the Worgen form. Yeah, could be good. I think it sounds more useful if you're ranged. I think it should be a little bit more damage probably, but considering you get 40% additional damage while in Worgen form, I guess it does amount to being more damage at the end of the day. Unleashed in the free. Wait, okay. If the free cast of Go for the Throat kills the target, you get another free cast. So basically, you use Go for the Throat, you kill a hero. Then you get a free cast of it. If you happen to kill another hero, you can use it a third time. So we talked about him being potentially snowballing. Well, this would amplify his ability to do that even further. Last but not least, Gilnean Roulette. We have marked for the kill, passes through the enemy heroes, making them all vulnerable and allowing you to leap to be used on each marked target once. The closest target is preferred. Holy crap, that is crazy. If you manage to shoot out this huge blast, right? You cast this ability in a range, mark for the kill. It will do 25%. Each hero that's hit by it will receive 25% amplified damage for 5 seconds. And then you can recast and leap to them during that 5-second duration, but you could bounce between them. Now, remember how crazy long the range is on this ability? That has some absurd potential. So suddenly, other heroics come to mind, right? Hinterland's Blast is an ability that is all but extinct, right? We almost never see it. Think of Greymane with Johanna and Falstad. And Johanna lands a big condemn, and then everyone's clumped up. You queued up the Gilnean Roulette at level 20 with Hinterland's Blast. All these targets get passed through, and the Hinterland's Blast, or Call of the Wildhammer at 20, would just absolutely shred them. Now, granted, this is something you can only do at level 20, so this being a realistic situation is all about impossible, but it's still a fun thing to think about, right? Right? It sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Now, let's just kind of look at like potential talent builds we could see out of Greymane based on what we've just read through. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to just be like, all right, well, I wanna do a cocktail build, and we're gonna grab, yeah, that one sounds good, and great. Now we have like a sweet poke build. Is this actually viable? Literally just looking at icons and not even thinking. Well, we have the increased range by 30% and mana return. If you get a kill, mana return is just a nice little bonus. Increased range is nice. Increased splash radius. That's really good. I'm going to be poking for days, right? And then this is going to do 200% additional damage from the primary hit, but guarantee the explosion. That's actually probably not terrible, right? That's the nice thing of having the same icon for every single tier. Now, Scented Tincture, yes, it's purple. Woohoo! At least Blizzard's changing the color on things. That's nice. Yes, they're blue and purple. Very good against stealthies, but for an actual poke style, you have the 25% increased damage received, you have all this poking, and then you have an option here you could go for, let's say on the Prowl, right? Is that what we want to do? Sure. But then you have a few actual interesting options. Isn't there a fifth option here? Am I crazy? I thought there was a fifth option at level 13. No, I'm crazy. I'm crazy, boys. It's all right. What am I thinking of? It's okay. So, this could be one style, a very, very poke heavy build, but then you would have to consider your type of heroics. So you can be like, all right, well, I'm going to be poking the best I can with a build like this, and I want to amplify the damage done by 25%, but you're not going to get all that much done during this time. Where's the increased range by 20%? Did I miss that? I have trouble remembering exactly where everything is. On the Prowl, movement speed, razor swipe, It's all in a different order. That's what's throwing me off here. And that's actually driving me nuts. Quicksilver Bullets, there we go. So rather than get the additional 200% damage to the primary target, you can be like, all right, well, we're going to get the great poke that exists here with these two, and just really good poke, and then we're going to get this additional 20% range. But I don't actually know if Mark for the Kill is going to always turn out to be the best result. So instead, we can say, all right, well, Go for the Throat could be really good for this, because we're whittling them down from afar pretty successfully with the increased range, and we're just poking away. And as soon as you notice they're weak, they step a little bit out of line, you go for the throat, you get in there, you get the kill, and then level 13... What is the best synergy? The increased disengage rate. If you think that you just want to be back to safety, I would actually probably go with Running Wild. You're going to get in there, you're going to do all that damage, you're going to go for the kill with Go for the Throat, and then you just want to get on out. A 16 Consecrated Blast, I mean, this is going to make it so that all the damage done from your Gillian Cocktail is improved here by Inner Beast. So basically, you'd want to pop Inner Beast, immediately throw your Gillian Cocktail, and try to get those autos off. The additional 20% range is going to make this very successful in doing so, and I see that this being a very prominent human form style of play. Now, we can't go for Gillian Roulette, but I would actually probably just want to go for the splash damage here. I don't know if Unleash would be what you want to go for, because this is a very poke heavy build, but I actually see this being a really, really fun way to play Greymane. You're really putting an emphasis on being in a human form most of the time, unless you're really confident, and then when you know you can get that kill at level 10, you just go for the throat and blow up the target. If I was to just kind of look at Greymane, this would be like one of the initial styles I would probably try out. So let's look at a potential Worgen style that we could see. So level 1 talents, basic attacks lowers the cooldown by 1 second, or do we want to go for the increased duration? I would grab the increased duration personally, so this is going to allow us to go pretty ham. Now, the mana retention, like I said, I don't know if we actually need that. This is going to be an auto-attack focused build, though, so I don't know if we need that. Maybe I do want to get out of there if I'm really scared of dying frequently. Reduces the damage to next basic attacks. I'm not worried about the tankiness. I'd rather get out. I'd rather just have the escape. We have the escape, and then once we're up there, we want Wise and Duel. So this is like Gathering Power. So again, it's about increasing the duration of Inner Beast. That's the increased damage, or increased attack speed, excuse me. While in Worgen form, it's going to be very powerful. This gives us our escape, gives us a little bit of stealth after we disengage. And then we have our Wizened Duelist. We want to pick up as many kills as we can, get farmed up. We want that 30% additional auto attack damage. And now we have a way to stay alive, because you will lose it if you die. Then, looking at our other talents, we're actually going to go the opposite route. Go for the Throat sounds really good for getting kills, but this is going to not only give us a really good, like, it's just 25% additional damage received on that target. We have huge auto attack damage already with this build, but it allows us to then engage on them, and then we have Eyes in the Dark or Disengage to get out of these situations. So speccing like that, looking at level 13, do we want Running Wild? I don't think we need it. I think I'd rather go for On the Prowl. So the Inner Breast will increase our movement speed, so this allows us to be just a very in-your-face style hero. Then, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. Relentless Predator. Just reduce all of those stuns possible on us. We're going to hit crazy hard. And last but not least, I don't know if I would go for Gilnean Roulette. It sounds really fun. I think I'd probably go for Tooth and Claw. Just get a little bit of cleave. I think it would probably add up nicely, especially in the situations where you're really diving in. But that's two styles I could see being really quite fun and quite successful with Greymane. But obviously, this is very speculative. It is rumored that Greymane will be going live on the 12th next year, or next week, not next year. Oh God, that would be a long wait. We gotta wait till January 12th, 2017 for Greymane. Oh, kill me. No, he should be going live in just a few days, about 5 days from now. Obviously, once he is finally live, we'll be doing a lot more coverage and seeing exactly how right or probably wrong my build predictions are here for the hero. Obviously, once he's actually out, send me your build. Send me some replays. Let me know what you think about the hero. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited about Greymane at all? You think he's going to change the meta? Will he actually be a viable assassin in competitive play? Because we have not had a viable hero in competitive play in 6 months, maybe? It has been a very, very long time, to say the least. Maybe Greymane will break that curse and enter the competitive scene. He looks like he has some crazy potential. I'm pumped to see what he can do, but we'll find out soon. Thanks for watching the Daily Quest episode number 33. Tomorrow will be EduCast, so be sure to send all of your replays to solidjakegg@gmail.com for a chance to have your replay casted and educated. We'll see you then. Peace.